In this video, we'll use the Oracle Bare Metal Cloud Services web console to launch an Oracle Linux instance. There are prerequisites required to launch an instance. You'll need a virtual cloud network and a subnet to launch the instance into. We created these in an earlier video. You'll need an SSH key pair. Instances use an SSH key pair instead of a password to authenticate a remote user. We don't show it in this video, but you can use PuTTyGen on Windows or use the SSH keygen utility on Oracle Linux to create an SSH key pair. Use the compute service to provision and manage compute instances. You can launch a bare metal compute instance and/or a virtual machine instance. In this video, we'll launch a virtual machine instance running Oracle Linux 7 Update 3. We'll also connect to this OL7U3 instance from a remote system using SSH. This is the home page of the Oracle Bare Metal Cloud Services web console. Before launching an instance, let's review the virtual cloud networks and subnets that we created earlier. So I'll click Networking, and you see that we created two. The 2130 VCN is the 192.168.0.0 CIDR block, which has a single subnet in availability domain 1. And the 2443 VCN is the 10.0.0.0 CIDR block network. It has three subnets, one in each of the availability domains. So 10.0.0.0 was AD1, 10.0.1.0 was in AD2, and 10.0.2.0 is in AD3. So now we can launch an instance. So I'm going to click Compute and Launch Instance. There's a couple here that are terminated. These are ones I created earlier. They've been deleted. It just takes a while before them actually go away. So I'm going to click Launch Instance, and you can provide a compartment. You need to provide a compartment, but the default compartment has been selected. It's the root compartment. If I wanted to change that, I could click here and select a different compartment, but I'll just take the default, the one that's currently selected. I'll give my instance a name. I'll call it OL7U3. You need to select an availability domain in which you want to run the instance. So instances are availability domain specific. I'll choose AD1. Select the image to use for booting the instance. The image determines the operating system and any other software for the instance. And you'll see that you have, in addition to a few Oracle Linux images, you also have a Ubuntu image, 3 CentOS images, and a couple Windows Server images. We're going to select the latest OL7.3 image. Select the shape. The shape determines the number of CPUs, the amount of memory, and other resources allocated to a newly created instance. You can choose either bare metal or virtual machine shapes. The bare metal ones are the BMs. The virtual machines are the VMs. The ending number of the shape name indicates the amount of CPUs. For example, 36 CPUs, 36 CPUs, 1 CPU, 2, 4, 8, 16, so forth. The amount of memory is really not apparent from the shape name, but I'm going to choose the VM standard 1.1, which has 1 CPU, and I know that it has 7 gigabytes of memory. Select the virtual cloud network in which to launch the instance. Here's where it might have been helpful to give the VCNs a specific name, but I know that the 2443 is the 10.0.0.0 virtual cloud network, which has 3 subnets, so I'll choose that. Select a subnet. They're either public or private, but notice there's only one subnet here, even though this VCN has 3. That's because I selected AD1. If I select AD2, there's still only one, but it's the one that's available for availability domain 2. Same way with 3. If I select 3, my only option for subnet is the one that was allocated for availability domain 3. If I choose my other cloud network that only has one subnet, and notice there's no subnets available in availability domain 3. And that is true. The only subnet available for this VCN was in availability domain 1. So I changed that to 1, and now that option is there. But I'm going to go back and actually choose the 2443, which is the 10.0.0.0 VCN, and select the subnet that was in AD1. And you see there that the addresses are going to be from 10.0.0.2 to 10.0.0.254. Private address. The private address lets instances within the cloud network communicate with each other. This is the address that's actually assigned to the virtual NIC for the instance. You see the message there that the address must be within that range and it cannot currently be used. You do not have to enter one. You can let the system assign it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check assign public IP address. I do want my instance to have a public IP address so I can access it remotely using SSH. You can optionally enter a host name, otherwise it'll default to whatever the name of the instance is, so I'm not going to enter a host name. The fully qualified domain name is automatically generated, automatically assigned. And now down at the bottom is where we have to provide the public key portion of the SSH key pair that you want to use to SSH into your instance. You have the option to either upload the SSH public key file or paste the information in the file. And I'll show you both. First I'm going to paste. So I'll click paste, and then I'm going to open up that public file and select all the contents and copy it into the clipboard and come back in here and paste it. And now I've attached the public key portion of the key pair to the instance. But I'm going to delete this and show you upload also. So I'll click upload, and here you just browse for the public key file that you created. In my case, I used PuTTyGen to create these files. So I'll choose the public file, open it, and it just plops in the name there. And now I can click launch my instance. The status will be provisioning at first, and then it'll change to running. It takes about a minute in real time for the instance to actually come up. After it's come up, you see there's an action menu where you can view the details, you can create a custom image, you can attach block storage, which we'll do in the next video, and you can terminate an instance. You can also see the details just by clicking the name. And at the top you have some options. You can create a custom image, and you can start or stop or reboot your image, or you can terminate it. There's instance information. You see the availability domain, you see when it was launched, the compartment, the region, the image that was used, the shape, the virtual cloud network. And then you see the primary virtual NIC information. The private address was part of our subnet range that we selected for this instance. The public address was automatically assigned. Down at the bottom are attached block volumes. We don't have any. We'll do that in the next video. But we're going to use that public IP address now and connect to this instance remotely using SSH. So I'll fire up PuTTY. And Oracle Linux instances have a user called OPC by default. So I'll say OPC at, and then the public IP address. And you also have to provide the private key portion of the key pair. So I'll go down here and I'll browse for that and select that and hit OK. And I'm going to make this window a little bigger so that we can all see. I'll go down and change the size maybe to 14. And now we can open. and we have connected, or we're going to connect. We have to provide the passphrase. When you generate an SSH key pair, you have the option to enter a passphrase, and I did that, so that's needed in order for me to authenticate and get logged in. And now I'm logged into my instance, and I'll run a few commands. Host name, you see that the host name is the same as the instance name. Who am I? I am the OPC user. ls/home, you see OPC is the only user on this system, with the exception of root, of course. I'm running the Oracle Linux 7.3, which was provided by our shape, as well as the kernel version. And I'll show you the network information, IP ADDR, and you can see that the private IP address is the one that actually gets assigned to the virtual NIC. The repositories are enabled so that you can install software packages. If I do a yum repo list, we'll see that the UEKR4 repository, the add-ons repository, the OL7 latest repository is enabled, and I believe one more, yes, the optional latest is also enabled, so you can install packages for many of those. And we'll look at the memory that was provided by our shape, and I said it was about 7 gig. And then also the CPU. There was only one CPU provided by the shape that we selected, and that you can see that as well. So processor 0 is the only one. So to summarize, in this video, we launched an Oracle Linux instance in the Oracle Bare Metal Cloud Service. We saw that you are required to provide a virtual cloud network and a subnet when you launch an instance. You also need to provide the SSH public key when you launch an instance so that you can SSH into it. We saw the available shapes and images. The image we selected was Oracle Linux 7 Update 3, and the shape was a virtual machine with 1 CPU and 7 gigs of memory. We logged into the instance using SSH and ran some commands. And this concludes this video. In the next video, we'll work with the block volume service and we'll attach additional storage to our instance.